Girls, 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 girls all have something to say. Some say their emotions get in the way. Some like them big, some like them skinny. Oh, girls, please come this way.
And we're back with Unsported Live, and now we'd like to welcome Amanda from AVEN, the Asexual Visibility and Education Network. AVEN hosts the world's largest online asexual community. AVEN strives to create open, honest discussion about asexuality among sexual and asexual people alike. Amanda, welcome to the studio. Amanda, please tell our listeners about your organization and how you became a part of it.
It's fine.
It's on. We're good.
We're good to go. All right, here. Okay.
So AVEN is right now the world's largest community of asexual people. We boast about 13,000 people worldwide who are members.
Wow.
Is it just online or?
Right now it's based solely online. We have one main site and several different sites catering to different countries and different languages. So pretty much everyone.
Wow.
But you don't
different
have like
countries,
community
different
meetings, or you don't meet all together physically?
We do actually have specific sections of the website dedicated to people meeting up with each other. So over the course of the years, we have like a lot of people who live in New York. We have a lot of people who live in London. So they regularly organize meetings and they get together and really just usually have coffee.
That's where it stops.
We like coffee.
So explain to our listeners a little bit about asexuality.
Yeah, what exactly is asexuality? Because I think a lot of people don't know.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
An asexual person is someone who does not experience sexual attraction. It's different from celibacy in the sense that celibacy is a choice, but asexuality is more akin to an orientation. So it's more something people tend to either be born with, or they don't really have much of a choice in how they feel.
So no matter what, men, women, whatever it is, you don't get the tingly feeling. That's basically what it is.
Do you try?
Right? Have you tried? I'm just going to move this mic closer to you.
Sure.
Go ahead. There you go. Go ahead.
I don't know if it's too personal to ask that, but do you
actually...
do you actually just decide, or it's just something that your body, you just know, that you don't...
I personally have never tried, just because it hasn't appealed to me, and I never really felt a need to, and it's kind of like, well, this is how I feel, perfectly comfortable with how I feel, and I know why I feel that way, and that was always just good enough. Some people, they get curious, they want to give something a try, so they do. And there's, we encourage that. If you are curious, you should try things.
Right.
If you're not, you don't have to feel bad about not wanting to try things.
Right.
So now, how did you know, like when you...
her mic louder.
Sorry.
Yeah. I'm going to have to pull you closer. People want to hear what you have to say. Just make sure you're talking right into it.
Right.
Be as loud as me.
So now when you're saying that you never wanted to try, you never... Like, when you're saying that you felt comfortable not trying, and you knew there was... Like, how'd you even know that... Like, when your friends were dating or making out in 5th grade or whatever, like... And if you didn't have a desire, like, how'd you know you were asexual?
It really, for me, it does stem back years and years and years from... Probably when I was going through puberty, and I think everybody, they kind of go from sex being this really, really icky thing to kind of being curious about it, and then really, instead of being curious, just really wanted to try things. And I never really got beyond being curious.
Right.
And, my friends, they all kind of paired up when I was in high school, and, in one sense, it was kind of like, yeah, I would like a boyfriend just because all my friends were dating somebody.
Everyone else is doing it.
Right.
But I still, I didn't want to have sex.
Right.
So what did you think?
I always kind of thought I'd grow out of it. And I just kind of kept waiting to grow out of it.
Right.
And by the time I got to be about 18, I sort of figured I wasn't growing out of it. But,
right.
I figured, it's like, well, maybe I can avoid bringing it up if I ever, when I start dating, if I meet somebody. Maybe it's something that can kind of just not be talked about. And
so have you had a man or, or a woman or whatever pursue you, and you felt threatened, maybe? Like, or how did you feel?
Well, Well, if somebody was pursuing me, I sure didn't notice.
Wouldn't you like just want to have like one orgasm just to see how it is? It's a great feeling inside.
You know, I hear, but it's just...
You don't know. Doesn't bother you.
It's true. It's like I don't really feel like I'm missing out on anything.
It's like
I
a
can-
cell phone.
I can like not have sex for a while, but
Yeah,
but you know,
But you know how it feels, so it's different.
you get this amazing feeling throughout your entire body. That's just
But physically, she can't do that.
So wait, listen.
by herself.
If we ever cross
Yeah.
any lines and you're not comfortable about talking about something, feel free to.
Don't worry about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've never had sex.
Never had sex. No.
Have you made out with a guy? And
Yes.
but like
No
Nothing.
feeling.
No. It's like that was always, just enough. It's like, oh, this is nice. Okay. And then it's after a while, I was like, okay, this is a little moist now.
Yeah. Now this is grossing me out. Right?
Interesting.
it's very interesting.
What was I going to say?
I don't know.
I don't know. I'm so stumped right
thinking?
now. I guess this is an important question. Especially I think going through teenage years and things like that. Like, have you ever felt segregated in a sense?
I haven't. I think that's mostly just because I was very lucky to have a group of friends who were really diverse in their sexual preferences. So sexuality was something that we always talked a lot about, and not just having sex, but I had friends who were gay, who were bisexual, and the fact that I wasn't interested in sex just it was kind of like it was different, but it wasn't so strange given the dynamic of
Right.
Have you hit 30 yet?
No.
Because that's like a whole world of difference for me. I mean, I was always into sex, but 30, it's like a whole different planet for me.
Yeah, I don't think you would feel segregated, right? Because it's
No,
not
I mean, like-
my friends. It's not like I'm having sex with my friends, or maybe in
No.
high school I was, but not now.
Well,
You
I'm
know.
just saying when you're at the point where like you're with your friends and all your friends are playing spin the bottle, and there was a point in high school where you're running around raged with hormone. And from what I understand, when you, and correct me if I'm wrong, if you're an asexual person, you have none of that.
I don't know if you don't have hormones, but
I mean, you don't have that.
you
that
don't have the
The urge.
yeah
the urge.
there's-
That's what I mean, like
that's
hormone
really-
wise.
Yeah, that's really what's kind of lacking there.
I get you a good vibrator. You could try it out. You might never want to put that sucker down. I was watching the History Channel, and they had the difference between men and women, and how some women have no desire, and that they're coming up with like a chip that you can put in your
head
whatever it is.
to help you with
Yeah.
desire.
Yeah.
To want to have
Well, that's
sex.
kind of weird.
That is kind of weird.
So, do you think it's a biological
I'm on.
thing or a psychological thing?
We haven't really, and when I say we, I mean
Mhm.
the people who are involved in the website and the community in general. We haven't really pinpointed anything. There are definitely people who say, well, we did have a couple unmarried aunts and uncles in my family, and I wonder if that's got anything to do with it.
Right.
And then there are some people who say, yeah, I've had bad experiences. They either face some kind of trauma when they were a child or even, later on in life. And it's something they've worked past, but they're still just not into sex.
But they still probably haven't tried to.
Carolyn can't get
Carolyn can't get it. She just can't get it. She's like,
Just give it a shot, give it a whirl. Maybe it's
but
fun.
there's no interest.
Well, even,
But maybe if you had that feeling, maybe there would be an interest.
But that's the thing. That's what they're lacking.
Well, even we have actually, there are a couple of asexuals who, I'm actually thinking of one couple in particular who are married and who did try having sex, and they just realized, this isn't for us. And we do, we have people on the site who are married to a partner who is sexual, and they're like, it's not really my thing, but I'll go along with it because it's not horrible, but it's not something I ever feel like, hey, honey, we got to get going.
So you could still
Right.
be asexual and just kind of be like just lay there and somebody have sex with you, but you're still asexual.
Yeah. I'm sure there's plenty of people like that.
Well, for a couple that guys both asexual? Like, so I mean, but do you date? Like, what do you date within the community, or?
I have a boyfriend, and he happens to be asexual, and I met him through the website.
Oh, good.
Oh, that's good.
Oh, right. I love that. What are you doing for Valentine's Day?
Nothing. I actually really hate Valentine's Day.
I know it's such a created holiday by Hallmark.
That's the thing. I also worked
Yeah.
for Hallmark when I was in high school, so I never
It
got
totally
over it.
is.
Right.
But there are plenty of people who, they haven't met an asexual person, but they've met somebody else that they really care about.
Right.
If you can make it work.
So how do you consider? Like, I'm sure you guys are intimate in other ways. Like, how do you manage intimacy between the two of you if you're not having sex?
Your typical like hand holding, hugging, kissing, things like that.
A lot of cuddling going on.
Yeah.
I can deal with that.
And that you like.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
nice.
okay.
So it's not that you're incapable of love. It's
not
just
at
that
all.
No.
Feeling.
it's right, but people would ask that question. I'm just educating listeners. But it's just that you it's more than it's lust
Yeah.
than love.
Exactly.
I think we have a caller. Hi, you're live on the air. Hello?
Hello,
Hi.
CJ.
CJ, how you doing? Welcome to Unsported.
Thank you very much.
Hi,
you have a-
CJ. How you doing today?
Do you have a question for Amanda?
Well, not a question so much, just because I was listening to the show, because I'm a member of AVEN as well.
Oh,
Okay.
fantastic. Bravo. Even listener.
Excuse my ignorance. I just.
Really like
That's all right.
sex.
No, and there's a lot of us listening tonight, because, we're all excited, because Amanda's on.
Good.
And she's wonderful.
Good.
Love.
Yeah, she's wonderful. We're
And,
not
we
hitting
were
on her
talking
either.
about how, you were asking Amanda, and she had never had sex, and you're saying, well, try it. And I had to call in and just say, okay, well, I'm one who has tried it,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and I'm pretty much done with it. I've given it a try.
Just once, though?
No.
Because my first time wasn't that good either.
I realize that, but I've had more than one boyfriend, and I mean, for me, the whole thing is I wanted to be in a relationship, and I loved the person that I was with, and so that I wanted to make them happy.
Right.
So of course, guys, that's something they like to do. But
Right.
it never really, did much for me. So eventually, I just figured out, well, okay, this isn't for me. I must be asexual.
So it's kind of just like not liking chocolate.
Exactly.
I like chocolate, but yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you get chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry, and you just don't like the chocolate. Right? I mean, it seems pretty much plain as day, right?
It's
I mean,
true.
is that it?
Well, I know some people who they love chocolate. They eat it at least once, twice a week, and if they meet somebody who doesn't like chocolate, they're just completely floored.
Right. So now, when you're in a relationship, I guess, is it that you have to find somebody who is okay with it, or do you, I guess what level that you'll go to be in a relationship? Because if you're with somebody who's sexual and you're asexual, like, how do you overcome those boundaries if you're really in love with somebody?
Right, and that's a huge problem, I think, because the relationships that I was in with sexual people, it's not something they can give up. So you either have to compromise in some way, or you have to find someone who's also asexual, and that's what I'm doing now, because it's got to the point where I really just don't ever want to do that ever again. So
right.
for me, hopefully through AVEN or wherever, if I could meet another asexual person, I'd be thrilled.
Right.
Is the community more of is there one dominant gender as far as who's asexual? Are there more women or are there more men? Is it equal?
Are there like trends?
It's right now. It seems to be pretty split between the two.
Right.
We don't really have any.
Doesn't lean.
Doesn't really seem like one gender is more.
Doesn't
predominant.
lean one way or another.
And I have a question for the both of you. When you talk about not wanting sex and getting in relationships, whether it's with an asexual or a sexual partner, what do you think about like families and stuff? Like, do you want to have children? Like, how would you overcome that?
Well, personally, I think family is great, and I've always, long before I even realized that I was asexual, I always thought that adoption would be a good choice for me. And that's still something that I'm considering whenever that time comes.
So I
Right.
wonder if you're asexual though, and you do want to have a child, like
It
would
still works.
I know,
work.
but would
Right?
would
Oh,
you
I'm just
have
speaking
sex
out.
to
Conceive.
get pregnant?
If that's really what you want to do, why not?
Right. It only takes a minute.
How about you, CJ?
Well, you know what though? I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but even with, and I think it's important to say that even if you have two sexual people have different drives and different needs and different stuff. So I imagine if you're on the opposite end of the spectrum, it's got to be hard to kind of, walk the same path. I guess you could say. I don't know, for lack of a better word. But go ahead, Denise. I'm sorry.
No, I was just asking the caller what she would do. Family-wise.
Family-wise.
CJ.
Oh, sorry.
Eating a hot dog.
But I mean, for myself personally, I don't want kids. But,
Okay.
Right.
I think that if someone really wanted kids, they could, have sex in order to accomplish that, or adopt. Or,
I was just curious if there was anyone in the community who was going through that, like wants to have
There
children.
are people in the community who have kids.
That's true. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But no one that I know that's actively trying at the moment or anything.
Okay.
I think that I guess you don't got to schedule it. You don't got to worry about it. You don't
know.
There's definitely an upside to all this.
Yes, that's what I was thinking too.
And you really got to love each other
Yeah.
for who each other is.
Right. Well, because me and my husband sometimes will look at each other and be like, "It's been like 2 weeks since we've had sex. We need to do it." Where if it wasn't something you had to schedule, like you say, you wouldn't have to worry about it.
Yeah. Well, thank you for calling. I appreciate it. And thanks for listening in. And Amanda's doing great here. So
Thanks,
Thank
CJ.
you.
we'll
very
be
much for
asking
having
more
me.
questions.
Take care.
Yes. If we step out of line again, just call right back in.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Take
Bye.
care.
So do you guys have community meetings or online chat? How do you guys know who's where and...
We have, in addition to media sections and information sections of the website, we have a very large message board that's set up, and that's primarily for the discussion of asexuality, because we think it's still really, it's a developing theory, it's a developing concept. So,
Yeah, I never heard about it until.
Yeah, so we really have it set up so that if somebody has a problem they need to talk about, they need advice from people who've been in similar situations, they can ask for advice. If, they're, just kind of curious, they've had a new thought about it, it's really designed just so we have a constant open discussion about asexuality.
Why don't you
Yeah.
tell our listeners the
Network.
website in case there are people out there listening?
That's right. It is www.asexuality.org. And
Pretty easy to remember.
yeah.
Now, let me ask you a question. If say, like, I'm a first timer, okay, and I have a bad experience, which I think has happened to a lot of people out there. Okay, so I say, you know what? I didn't really like that much. But does that really constitute or make me an asexual person? So what are the questions that somebody asks themselves to say, okay, you know what?
I think I'm asexual.
I think I'm asexual.
Well, and I know this sounds like a cop-out, but, we stand by that only you can decide if that's really
Right.
who you are. And it's one of those things that you do have to constantly be asking yourself questions, and you really can't turn yourself off to new experiences and, any kind of experimentation, any kind of change. If you know it's just not for you, it's just not for you. But if you're scared about sex, if you're shy about it, if you just hate it in a way that's kind of an overcompensating thing, we really, we want you to consider what it is that you dislike so much.
Because it might be more of like a fear
It's
instead
true.
of.
It's, we're not a place for people who are afraid of sex.
Right.
Because if you are, that's something, we want you to understand what it is that you're so afraid of.
Right.
If it's, that it's just not for you, or if something happened to you, or,
Right.
And there's so many different sexual orientations
Right.
that it's like somebody who's confused can say, well, what am I?
Exactly.
You know? So how do you go through that process and define yourself as asexual?
Right. It's, it's hard to say.
Well,
And
I think
we've had people, they said, well, I tried having sex with, a member of the opposite gender, and then I tried having sex with a member of the same gender, and I really didn't like either.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it's like when you say, like even for yourself, you said it simply enough that I just wasn't really into it. I mean,
Yeah.
think back to like when you were in high school. Like I remember like making out with my boyfriend and like
Going home and
liking it.
thinking about it forever.
It's true.
Be like, I can't have sex. You know, like. I remember getting tingling. Like, this is really crazy. I probably shouldn't.
My
be sharing
dad's in the
this.
next room.
I know.
It's all right, share.
But, it's,
But I remember one time, like, flipping through the dirty channels when I was young, not young,
Yeah,
but, like,
yeah,
pretty young,
yeah.
and getting, like, tingles down there.
Yes.
And I didn't even, like, that was, like, way before I was, like, even thought about having sex.
it's true. It's most people who, if they've never had sex, if they are a sexual person, they know they want to have sex
Right.
at some point.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because you get, the way people, when you get
Yeah.
touched in certain
Yeah,
ways,
exactly,
you don't
yeah.
actually be having sex,
Yeah,
but
I
you
know
know
exactly.
where you're feeling those things, and you're like, whoa.
That's so funny. So you know what? Someone can be. Tell me about that. No, I just dawned on me that like somebody can actually be like hitting on you and making advances, and you have no idea. That probably happens a lot. Like, say you went for a this is so hypothetical, but just say you went for a massage, okay, and they're trying. Somebody was trying to. You would just be like, okay, right? Am I correct?
Probably, yeah.
Meanwhile, I'm getting tingly when we get my massage. I'm like, I want a man massaging me, or a woman too. I sit there, I'm like, oh god, this is so good.
And you have no thoughts. That's great. Keeping it clean. It's fantastic. I don't know. I like that.
Do you and your boyfriend, like, well, and you don't have to answer this personally, but, like, do you guys, like, lay naked together?
I personally am not a big fan of nudity. That's just me.
Mm-hmm.
I can't really speak for anyone else.
Right.
It's just, I'm not big on nudity. So.
Do you watch porn? I'm just kidding.
It's just a joke.
Have you tried that?
So when you met your boyfriend, right? Did you find him attractive?
I find him physically attractive, probably or it might even be better to say aesthetically attractive.
So he was eye candy, but that's where it stopped.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
That's a good way of
All
putting
right.
it.
So you weren't like that hot ass.
No.
So now you meet him, right? Well, you met him through the
I want a
network,
10.
right? Okay, so you knew
Never
in
had that.
advance.
I want to jump that balloon.
It wasn't like we had a pre-existing online relationship when we met or anything.
Right.
It just happened to be that was the means through which we met.
Okay.
So.
No, I'm just trying to think for somebody who is out there and who is asexual and they meet somebody, how you would approach someone and
this
have this conversation.
Well, they don't have to have a conversation, right? If you already know.
Well, if they're not in the network, say if
Oh.
you met somebody and you wanted to have a conversation with them and continue a relationship, I mean, you'd have to have a talk with them at some point and say, hey, we get along really great, and this is...
But you're never getting any.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think right off the bat.
I know you think I'm a tease, but I'm really not. You know?
It's true that, we do think that it's important to have an open dialogue with your partner just so everybody knows where everyone else is coming from.
See,
Yeah.
but where do you say that? First date, second date? You want to get to know somebody.
Yeah, but if you're dating somebody, you're going to know right away if they're sexual or not.
No way.
way.
You're telling me that if you saw Amanda on the street and you started chatting with her, you would be able to tell her. You'd be able to tell
I'm
by
not
just talking to her.
intimate with her.
I'm just saying.
not hitting
she's
on
saying
her.
first date. You're out to dinner. Okay.
you're out to dinner, you're excited.
You mean to tell me
you're
you'd be
enjoying
sitting-
each other's company, you like each other.
Like, imagine a guy sitting with Amanda, sitting at dinner, like, we're on our first date. Like, within a half hour, 45 minutes, he's going to be like, wow, this woman never wants to have sex ever. Like,
That's
No, that's not what I'm talking about.
wow, this woman so doesn't want to have sex ever. What are you, crazy?
No, that's not what I'm talking about. You go on a couple
You
dates,
base your
you get to
relationships
talking.
on lust, girl.
I do not.
You do. You're like, let me see if I can lust this man from across the room, and then we'll take it to another date. Yes, I'll see you again.
Yeah, but and that goes back to what Amanda was saying. Like her and her, like you guys hold hand. It's not intimacy that she doesn't have. It's just she doesn't want to have sex.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I've been on dates where, like, you know right away that the guy is looking for something and you're not going to do it. You
But
know
that's
that.
not what we're talking about.
I'm saying when you start dating people, you can weed out people because you can tell.
You can't tell.
You can tell.
Every guy's wanted to get in your pants that you've went out with. So
Well,
you
yeah, naturally, but
Denise, once again, you're not part of the conversation.
you're out.
Denise, if you're sitting across from me,
enough.
She was asking her if you get involved with someone, like say she met a guy that she really likes and she starts dating him, like at what point does she turn to him and say, listen, I'm asexual. Like, I really like you. I'd like to get to know you further. Like, do you tell him on the
like
first
you
date?
might be tingling for me, but I'm not tingling for you. And I'm never going to tingle for you, but I
now
like
you're
you.
hurting my feelings.
That's what they have to overcome, not to hurt the person. I really like you. And that's got to be hard for somebody who's in love, right? I really like you, but I just don't like it. So I'm never going to do it, but I do like you. Please try to understand.
Probably-
Right?
you
Is that
probably
pretty
end up
much
with a-
what it is?
I don't know.
You probably end up with a lot of friends.
Yeah.
And you probably don't piss any of your friends off. You never slept with any of your
right?
friends' boyfriends.
Right? You probably never slept with any of your friends' boyfriends.
I can safely say no.
She's the best friend to have. It's kind of like having a, like
You are good friends. He can send you in with anybody.
Yeah.
Go check out my husband upstairs while he's in his underwear. That's good stuff. That's good stuff.
But, seriously, though, when you think about it, I would think it's got to be... I mean, I totally understand. I mean, I love sex. I'm really into sex, all that. But I understand where you're coming from completely because it's like just not having the desire. It's like exactly how you explained, Don, about not liking chocolate.
Mm-hmm.
But it's got to be something chemically, I would think.
Chemically?
well,
Or
like
something,
like an
something.
imbalance
Like,
or
it's got to be... Like, why are there, like, people who don't like chocolate ice cream and people who do? Like, that's got to be something...
Just
or
like
why
how
are there
some people are
sex
sex
addicts?
addicts.
Yeah, people
same
who
thing.
can't live without it versus
It's
people
on the opposite
Yeah,
side.
it's on the opposite spectrum,
But it's better to be.
and that's a hard thing to
Asexual
judge.
than
Like, what
sex
is
addict.
normal? You know what I mean? Like,
I don't think normal today is...
that's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
ooh, you know what's a good question? You know how like this whole world is driven by sex, and like it's all
I
in
thought it was
ads and stuff like
That's
that.
it.
Like, do you look at things differently? Like, do you not buy things because they have like sexual connotations in their ads?
No, actually. I
That's why you're laughing at me. It's a serious question.
It's not.
Why? Like,
Oh, go get her, Anne.
There's like a hot guy on a Lexus commercial. Like, I must have that
Oh
Lexus.
God, I don't
mean,
want that Lexus.
sex sells. It's
All right, let her
true. It's
answer.
an inevitable fact.
it's true, and there are some ads if like they're artistic or they're clever, I
Right.
can appreciate it. But I get pissed off when I see the nude models for Calvin Klein jeans, but there are no jeans.
Yes. See? I needed a fresh perspective on that. So it's true. It's true. But I think that I think that there's too much sex.
Well, I like.
Like
I
in
like sex, but I
advertising
get
and
annoyed at
stuff.
that magazine also. That ad. What's the point?
Sex
Yeah.
sells, be it no sex or sex. We're still talking about sex.
Yeah, but in advertising, what's the point? If you're
But people like to
advertising a
look at
product, you should show the product.
But what they're doing is they're trying to
Lure
make the product
you.
sexy.
Calvin Klein doesn't have
so
to
this
show
way
their
you
product.
like it.
why
so
they're that
true.
big?
They are.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are.
I don't buy Calvin Klein.
You're going to tell me you never had a bottle of CK1.
No,
Oh, I have
You're
a question.
such a liar.
I didn't.
Go ahead. Ooh,
So now when I think about it, so now if you don't want to have sex with a man or a woman,
No.
how do you know, like, if you want to be in a relationship with an asexual woman or an asexual man?
I I think that's just a matter of chemistry. I mean, I personally have never been attracted to a woman. I don't write off that possibility.
And you're out.
I know it's definitely something that's a possibility because
But that's what I'm saying.
How
Like
does
that's all.
anybody know?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is like that's the only thing that, you know what I mean? What I think. I mean, maybe not. I guess. Well, when you say attracted, so then you're attracted to men. You just don't want to have sex.
Exactly. Because
Okay.
attraction is definitely different because it works on so many
Right.
levels. You can be attracted to somebody's personality. You can be emotionally attracted to somebody. So
Right.
Right.
and for some people,
Well, yeah. Think about it. You really like him, but just that sex thing isn't working for you.
Hmm.
You know?
I'm all about that, but I still think you need to experience an orgasm.
You're not going to change Carolyn's mind on that.
Because I can go without sex, but I still need to have something.
I know, but what you don't know,
I get it, I
Carolyn-
get it, I
No,
get it.
I don't think it's that. It's not what you
I don't think it's
know.
that
It's
at
just
all.
that she just
I
has
get
no
it.
desire. It's
There's
like
no
what
desire.
food do you hate? Like what is there that you hate that you
Ice
do
cream
not
makes me
like?
puke. I don't eat it.
So exactly, that's it.
So there
You
you
see
go.
now, I can easily polish off a pint or two.
See?
Not think twice about it.
How could you not eat ice cream?
Lactose, like I said.
You really
should
need to
just
try it
once.
Come on, just try
Maybe you should
it.
try it again.
I have some. I could give it to
Yeah, if you want. I think you should
I
really
do.
try it.
If I have it in little doses, I can have it. See what I'm saying? I could dabble with the ice cream.
Well, Amanda, before we close, what is it out there that you'd like our listeners to know, and just give the rest of your information so people know where to go, and if somebody's who's experienced this, what you have, what the resources you have out there.
Well, to plug the website once more, it's www.asexuality.org. We have a lot of different information, articles, media clips from television shows and, well, now radio shows too. Thank you. And we have forums catering to asexual people, questioning people, friends and family and partners of
Children, I saw too, right?
I don't know, actually.
I saw that on there. For kids.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, I think this is really great.
No, I
Yeah,
think it
And
is
I'm
great
glad
too
this is
because
out there.
yeah, because
now.
there's a lot of people that who do I network with?
Right.
Am I going to meet somebody? And I think that's great that there is that organization for people that.
Out there, no, definitely, and then in this way too, for yourself,
Yeah,
what I'm
and like
saying,
I said,
what's
I
going
never heard-
on with me.
Yeah, and
you
if
know?
I ever have any friends who are questioning, now I can direct
Yeah,
them.
and that's what's most important to us is that people know for themselves.
Well, thank you so much for coming out, and I think it's wonderful for you to come out here and talk with us and get the message out.
All the way from Brooklyn.
All the way from Brooklyn, and educate us not so educated.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Amanda.
Thank you so
But thank you.
much.
Please stay tuned. You're listening to WUSB Stony Brook, and we're going to be back with Mark Michaels and Patricia Johnson talking about the essence of tantric love.
There you go, Cal.